Mexico City. It's famous for its architecture, and it's the oldest capital city in all of the Americas, north and south. But it's so much more than that. It is a center hub for manufacturing and automotive technology, and that's what we're here to show you. Here just an hour from Mexico City, Teotihuacan, an ancient Aztec community. I knew there was pyramids in Mexico. I didn't know they had style back 2,400 years ago. All the homes are decorated differently. I also didn't know it was going to be 4 degrees Celsius. Two more things I did not know about Mexico. Well, this is modern Mexico City. Mexico, in fact, has modernized its whole economy, driven by manufacturing, and the auto industry is right at the heart of it. That's led to a fantastic aftermarket automotive industry, and that's why we're here in Mexico. The thriving aftermarket industry here in Mexico City, a great example of that would be the Buell. Haven't heard of the Buell? Well, that's because it's not sold in North America, or at least not in Canada or the US, not yet. It's a great track car. You can buy it in the UK, the Middle East. It sells for about $93,000 US, and it's quite an awesome roadster. The Buell is built here and designed in Mexico City with some key components from a supplier we're going to visit next. But the Buell is powered by a 285 horsepower Ford EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine and 6-speed manual transmission. Not impressed? Well, if I told you the power to weight ratio, it far exceeds a Corvette, and it's basically at the same numbers as a Viper. Now you get the picture. The car weighs 1,535 pounds, features a carbon fiber body with an aluminum chassis. So, 2015 SEMA show, we discovered Air Design Super Rim kits for domestic pickup trucks. And we fell in love, but asked the question, who's Air Design? So our research into Air Design had to conclude with the patents, design, and quality. They didn't just start with automotive aftermarket for trucks, there had to be a history, and there certainly was. A history of over 25 years of being a world leader in design and quality, just like on the Buell behind us, where they designed the entire front and rear fascia, as well as support and CAD/CAM design for the Buell build. Let's check out the factory in Cuernavaca, Mexico, just outside Mexico City. Well, here we are, Cuernavaca, just a few hours outside of Mexico City, and we're here at Air Design's Design Center and Manufacturing Facility. Here you're going to find one of the most high-tech manufacturers anywhere in the world, and a very environmentally responsible manufacturer at that. So let's go check it out. Let's go see where the Super Rim truck accessories are made. Come on in. Hi, well here we are, we're inside the Design Center Air Design, and this is where the really cool stuff happens. And I'm gonna get to design the 2017 Super Duty accessories. I think I know what I'm doing, but Hector's gonna give me a little bit of help. Hector, one of the designers here at Air Design, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So Hector, what are we looking at here?
Well, this is a screenshot of the front of the Super Duty F250. We tried to design something from here.
And what are the couches for around here? Is this, everybody kind of gathers around and...
Yeah, this is a meeting room. So we gather all the designers here and try to come up with some cool ideas for the cars.
Okay, well I'm going to pretend all the designers are here. Now you get this data, you don't have to make it up yourself, it comes from where?
Now we are members from the SEMA, and the SEMA get us the data from the builders from Ford.
Right from Ford?
Yeah.
Well that's cool. Okay, so I'm going to go wild with this marker here. So I'm going to design a bumper cover and I'm going to do something like this. It's not going to come all the way out. And what do you think? How am I doing? straight lines, maybe not so much. So like this.
Well, you have to read the DNA from the car, but that's the idea.
DNA from the car.
Yeah,
It's a truck, man. What DNA is involved? Oh, design DNA.
design DNA.
Yeah. You know what? Okay. Clearly, this is not my field. Let's show us how it's really done, okay?
Okay,
Let's go ahead. You've got the drawing on here, so you're actually going to sketch out some ideas. And what are some of the things that you're going to be thinking about while you're sketching?
Well, like I told you, we will try to read the lines in the car. Let me show you. And we try to see the angles and the shapes, the proportions of the car. We try to keep that in mind while we are sketching the new parts for the car, because we don't want the part to look like a stranger.
Sure. Yeah, makes sense. So you'll sketch it out there first. Can we see how that looks?
Yeah. Actually, just try to block out and make the overall proportion.
I'm noticing as soon as you're doing it on there, it's mirroring it on the other side.
Yeah, so it makes it
Well,
easier,
that makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
faster.
Where were you 5 minutes ago?
We can start doing some proportions. Maybe we can cut this line to make it look taller in the sides, make it more sporty look.
Well, I got a confession for everybody to make. You've actually already done all this, and in fact, it debuted at the SEMA show. Ford Motor Company gave you a Super Duty to work with, and it turned out fantastic. So let's skip ahead to the next process, shall we?
Okay.
Next
Well,
step.
After we have this, we go to the 3D model. You said this is already done. Let me show you the part.
So that's just the part there. That's the air design bumper cover.
Exactly.
This is where the Sylvania Osram LEDs go in.
Exactly.
Okay. Excellent. Wow. That is so cool. And this can go, so you do all the design here. Now when you design this part, do you design the mold too as well that's going to make this part, or is
Yeah.
that somebody else?
No, I have to do it myself. Here in Air Design, we try to, all the designers, to take their part all through the process. And
So each part, the designer is responsible for the whole process all the way through.
exactly, yeah.
Wow, that's really
That we
interesting.
make it.
So once the design is done, you have all kinds of ways. The next step is to make a prototype, but one of the ways you use is 3D printers, right?
Right.
And is this make miniature sizes of the actual, or is this going to make actual parts in here?
Well, small parts like this, for instance, this is a bracket we use for install some of the parts. But we take the products from here to make maybe a little part of the molds.
So this was made in a 3D printer?
Yes.
That's unbelievable. Okay, well, sometimes Hector is telling me that the drawings aren't available from the manufacturers, maybe for lower volume parts or unique parts, such as we have behind here. Not a problem here at Air Design. They use 3D scanning, and this funky looking motorcycle here has been all taped up with these dots, and we're going to ask Hector here to show us how to do it. And I'm sorry, Jorge is going to show us how to do it. Hector, tell us what's going on.
Well, this process is called 3D scanning, and Jorge here is using a laser gun, look like, and he's creating the shape of the, in this case, a motorcycle in the computer with all the little tiny measurements the scanner is making. And we take this information into the computer and they start to develop any part we want.
And so this, you're using the basic drawings and you're producing an auxiliary part, an accessory part, if you will,
Exactly,
to go on
yeah.
top of that. And you'll have all your own drawings, and you do that all in-house too.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's
We
fantastic.
have all the measurements and all the precise shape of the vehicle or whatever product we want.
All right, so whether the drawings are supplied or you make your own, next step is prototyping. Let's check out how we do that.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, thank you, Jorge. So Hector, this is another type of making a prototype. What's this one?
Well, this is foam, but actually we can make prototypes out of many materials, from wood, some metals like aluminum, steel, clay, or foam. And we use all these type of materials and combine them to make a really fast prototyping to get into sort of fast tooling.
Okay, now this machine, I know, I'm impressed already because I'm told there's 15 of these in the world. They're very expensive. What does this machine do and why is it so unique?
Well, this machine is really cool because you can make prototypes like this, and you can evaluate the shape of your design, and then you can add clay and modify it, and then mill it again, and go back and forth all the time you want. And
Right
this
here
really
on the
accelerates
floor.
the process. Yeah, accelerates.
Right from the computer.
This is really quiet machine.
So you could
really clean.
you could actually bring in a full-size model of a car and add clay to the car, and this
Exactly.
machine will just mill the clay off, or it could in fact do a whole car if you wanted it to.
Exactly, or make it on scale if you want it. So you can evaluate the shape. Basically that's its purpose, just
Wow.
to evaluate the design.
Imagine
Making good
when
decisions.
the old days they had to do that. Took them years to, maybe months, I don't know, to make these clay models. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and the really cool thing is you can have it perfectly symmetric. You have to make one side by hand and the other.
Wow, of course, I never thought of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why you're the designer. Once again, thanks very much,
Thank
Hector.
you, Jim.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So we're in Air Design Center for thermal forming, and Carlos, you were explaining earlier that there's two types really of the plastic products you're making: thermal forming, and what was the other one?
And polyurethane injection.
And so that's a totally different process altogether.
Yeah, yes. In this one we come from out of a sheet, and then we thermoform, and in injection we inject into a tube.
So we're standing in front of the fender flare molds, and where do you get these molds from? Who makes the molds
We
for
make them
you?
in-house. We have a tool place.
You make all the molds here?
All the tools are made here.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So right from design, everything is all done on site?
Everything. We go from basic CAD to advanced CAD to prototyping, milling. We create the tools here.
So the sheet is going to be put in the mold. It's going to be heated, pressed, and then where does it go from here?
To trimming. We have 2 trimming stations.
Okay.
Robotic trimming.
Those are the robots. We're
Yeah.
going to go off that.
And then after that we paint them.
All right. Well, let's go see the trimming process, shall we?
Okay, sure.
Thank you. So the fender flares have come out of the mold. We're at the trimming station. All the thermoplastic parts require trimming, correct?
Yes, you have to.
Now you have that machine over there. It's 1/100th of a millimeter.
Yes, it's
in the
super
turn.
precise.
That is amazing.
Yes, it's amazing.
And all of the thermoplastic, you use one source for plastic. Is that locally you source that, or?
We source that from Senoplast.
Senoplast.
It's an Austrian company which has a beautiful facility in
The
Mexico.
Senoplast in Austria does a lot of OE supply out.
Mostly always.
Okay, yeah.
They are
yeah.
really big business in the US. Yeah.
That's the best quality of thermoplastic.
Yes. You cannot buy better material than Senoplast.
And then we're gonna look at it being actually come out as a color, but you buy it black for this purpose,
Yes.
and then it's going to be painted. And is that where we're going next to paint?
Yes. Yes.
Great. We'll go on to paint. So the primer doesn't even require an adhesion.
No,
primer.
we don't.
Oh, that's great. That saves a step right there. So we're here at the paint facility. We talked about just after the fender flares in that case were being trimmed. It's a different product line now. Carlos, tell me about the paint process. How long does it take?
It takes about a minute to apply the base coat and another minute to apply the clear coat.
This
And then it goes into the oven.
And how many square meters in all is this whole process?
Well, it's like 150 square meters, linear meters, and it's about 400 square meters.
Wow, it's quite an impressive facility. I'm going to come back maybe and ask you later about that water that's back there, but let's go to the dryer. So we're standing in front of the control panel that controls both the paint booth and the drying booth. I asked you, after you clear coat the product, how do you keep the dust out? What's the secret?
It's a very delicate balance of pressures inside each of the chambers. So you have to be very careful with that. Always have a positive pressure inside, then another positive. So you keep the dust always out, never in.
So
You don't want to suck it.
Oh, so it's absolutely no vacuum. You're always continually
vacuum.
pushing out.
It's an increasing pressure.
The quality of the paint is I gotta commend you. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I didn't realize at first when I looked at the Air Design product, Carlos, is that matte black finish is actually painted here, correct?
Yes.
And tell me a little bit, what kind of paint is that?
It's a water base. Comes from Germany.
It's the same paint. That's the same paint that goes on
madness
bumpers.
that you have in the rest of the car.
Okay.
But the main advantage is that it will stay like that for years. If you were to use just standard ABS, it will fade on time. This paint will not fade.
Well,
ever.
you can tell that the finish on the Super Rib truck accessories, that matte or satin black finish, it's also scratch resistant or marring resistant, and it's a beautiful finish right from the
Yeah,
back.
it's great.
I thought it was part of the natural plastic, but who knows? It's another great step to production here at Air Design.
Yes.
Okay, out of the drying oven, right at the ascendant of this assembly line, what is Arlette's job?
Arlette is checking each one of the pieces that come out of the oven. She's looking for major faults, and if they are fine, she puts them on the rack for micro polishing.
Excellent. And then they go to the next stage for
Yes.
final inspection. And okay, well, there's several stations here. So Gustavo's job is to do what now?
He is going to review try to find any piece of dust, whatever is on the paint, and he will micro polish it. But we are not polishing the whole thing, just tiny little places, 1 or 2 places on each.
Whatever it
part.
may be before it's perfect, and then it's going to get shipped out.
Packaging, yeah.
Okay, so we've seen the painting process, but what I didn't realize is with thermoplastic, it actually is not even necessary. The plastic can be colored to the customer specifications. And Carlos, this is an example of EcoSport, the spare tire cover that's sold all around Central America, Mexico. You do many other brands. What I was shocked at, I saw them, and how long does this last, the color?
It outlasts the body color paint, the UV paint, by far.
Yeah, there's no fading.
No
the color
fading at
match
all.
was perfect.
Perfect match, no fading. You can polish it as if you were going to polish
Just
your
treat it
vehicle.
like paint.
Yeah.
So really, if there was a desire for it, such as doing the fender flares at color match,
Can be done.
It would be not even necessary to paint if the volume was enough, right?
Yeah, yes, you can do it.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, when I came here initially to search out the quality of who made this part, I had no idea I was going to learn so much about your environmental manufacturing. And here's a great example.
Yeah.
Carlos, tell me what that water is doing and why it's so environmentally responsible.
The water curtain is catching all the overspray, that the paint that is not setting to the part.
Yeah?
So once it
this
catches,
overspray is being blown onto the water
because
wall?
you've got a suction on the bottom.
Okay.
These are downdraft painting cabins.
All right.
So once the water has all these little pieces, tiny little particles of paint,
Got it.
we add bacteria into the water, and bacteria is the paint. So
the bacteria eats the paint, and then you don't have to throw the water out? You just keep reusing the same
the water
water?
has been there for a year. You don't change it.
The same water for the year, and that's the very water you're capturing off the roof of this building.
Yes, exactly.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a great story. We need to
Yeah.
talk more about that. Well, we're on to the next stop. Carlos, I can't, I know I've said it 2 or 3 times, but, and don't be offended if I'm shocked to find out that here in Mexico, you're a world-leading and environmentally responsible manufacturer.
Yeah.
And you should be proud of it. And I want you to tell people there, the polypropylene plastic that we've talked a lot about, tell me why the United Nations was generous to you and why they were involved with your company for that reason.
Well, for instance, for polyurethanes, everything is waterborne. We don't use any kind of CFCs or hard metals or difficult materials. So we were awarded by the United Nations in Europe a big bonus because being avant-garde in that respect. Same as our paints, which are high solids and waterborne.
So everything is CFC free and all your polypropylene. Did they not? Is that a new thing for plastic? I guess.
It's a more expensive thing for plastics. It's
Gotcha.
been around, but you have to justify it. But we do it all the time.
Well, speaking of water and waterborne, it doesn't stop there. Behind me is the reason we're standing here is if you can see how high this is and how. Imagine that underground. How big is the tank you built underground for recapturing rainwater?
300,000 liters.
300,000 liter tank they've built underground. This whole facility and the building next to it captures all the water, the rainwater, through a special gutter system, keeps it under here. You're not using any water at all or importing. You're completely self-sufficient, and you're
That's
recycling
right.
all the water you're using in the paint booth.
Yes, actually we are not connected to the line, to the municipal line.
You know, I think that the rest of North America has an incorrect perception that Mexican production or Mexican manufacturing
I believe so.
is not good for the environment, and I'm shocked, and I've learned that on the contrary, you're world leading, as the United Nations has said.
Yes,
I think
that's right.
I think it's something you should be very proud of. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Let's go on. There's got to be more here.
Yeah.
Taxi. Next time you're in New York City, you can check out Air Design's product. Nissan of Japan approached them to not only design and conceptually bring forward the new light system that's going to go on the roof of all the new Nissan NV200s that are being used in New York City. Where did you come up with the ideas for this, and what were the design behind this?
Well, it has to be like a statement for the taxis, something that would not compete with the current cars that all the other taxis have. So, and it had to have a lot of functions for safety purposes. So we developed something that was out of the ordinary.
And your whole design right from, oh, that's, congratulations on that. And it's obviously all LED, I noticed too,
all
right?
LED, made in Japan.
Yeah.
And the rest of the parts are made in-house.
Yeah. And that leads me to the next, your whole factory here, everything is all LED lit?
Oh, yes, everything is LED.
Wow, that's great. Well, show me a little bit more about this. Come on, let's have a look. So Carlos, this product for the New York City Taxi Commission, to me, represents a lot of things about Air Design, and that is your partnerships with some of the best brands in the world. Small, large companies. The LEDs that are in this is a very highly specialized company from Japan called Lasip that supplied that.
Yes, yes.
And your front bumper covers, you're using Sylvania Osram LEDs. We already discussed the paint is Mankiewicz, the plastic is Senhas, 3M is your adhesives, Tessa's your specialty adhesives. I mean, every top brand in the world you're using here at this facility, and it's impressive.
For the best.
It's very impressive.
Thank you.
I appreciate the quality. Well, I think Carlos, the modern manufacturing strategy, I mean, is really evident. You're following the Kaizen, constant improvement. What are all these boards? I see them all over the place.
We call these lean manufacturing boards. Here we control 5 S's, Kaizen, security, quality, and production rates. So here we have meetings every week in which we review the results of each area and how we are doing with the people, with improvement.
Well, every station has one.
Every station has one.
Yeah, and it's very well laid out. Who does all this for you?
The quality department.
Oh, the quality, I guess that makes sense.
They create it,
yeah.
But the supervisor of each area is in charge of filling it, keeping it.
Show me this training session, I'm really interested in that. I saw something like your products like for the post office you make and pet stations, and then this thing, you just made for yourself, you don't sell them, but I think you probably could. So this is just for training in here?
Just for training, for focus training.
Like it's quiet, air conditioned?
TV, DVD.
Okay, you could sell these. I could see a purpose for these, maybe a tad bit smaller, but on the shop floor when the technicians have to talk to a tech hotline or whatever.
Yes, for us it's an everyday tool. You use it a lot.
Oh, it's brilliant.
You can really concentrate on your
do the training right here on the shop floor?
Yes, of course.
It's fantastic. Oh, it's another great idea. I guess that's why you're called the Design Center.
Yeah, we better.
We're standing in front of the machine that makes happens to be the door panels for the F-150 Super Crew. And I've been asking Carlos about the urethane and the need for urethane on certain parts of the body. And it depends on the shape of the product you're using, right?
Correct.
Now, these rocker moldings, these rocker moldings on the doors, they provide a function, not just for style, right?
Oh, no, they are very good for splash, anti-splash.
Yeah.
If you don't splash your doors, that's the main reason for them.
Yeah, and if you can see that on the camera, if you can, this is the front of the truck to the back. That is the exact same angle as the tire is going to spray up rocks and stones from the road. So they provide that protection, and they just so happen reach their widest point to act as door protectors for other people slamming your doors into it. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Carlos.
Really works.
Reaction injection molding, the name Super Rim, the rim part is not rim and wheels. That was initially my confusion. It's reaction injection molding, a very high tech using high quality urethane to make parts such as the door guards. And what else do you use?
Well, we do front bumpers, full bumpers, rear wings, mostly things that are going to be subject to rough treatment. This is very, very flexible. If you allow me, I can flex it like this. Nothing will happen. Super good for stones, for chipping, This is a high-end material.
So that's why it makes that an excellent part for the bumper cover.
Yes.
Okay. And then the molds themselves, do you design and make all these molds like you do?
Yes, we do them in-house. These are composite molds made of ceramic composites. They will last for as long as you have the product available.
So it's really, other than the raw material, there's nothing that you're bringing in from outside of this complex here. Design, everything, right from beginning to end.
Yes.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes, because it's very specific. There's a niche market that we have developed.
Well, next, let's go and have a look at the hood scoop. And that's a really important part because I want to put a connection to you and explain to you what super rim means. We understand rim now. Why super rim? Come on, I'll show you. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, so we've explained to you what the rim part of super rim name is. And we've explained to you that that's reaction injection molding. And it's a technique of high quality urethane as a liquid form being injected into the molds. But why super rim? Well, it's another patent of Air Design and another idea from Carlos and his staff here that overcame a very significant problem. Let me explain to you. So the ABS shell of this hood scoop here for a Ford F-150. I've seen hood scoops, sheep hood scoops on the market where they've got the flap that has to stick out an inch that is molded in there to give you a surface to bond it down. And it looks Mickey Mouse, it looks terrible. Well, I just learned that super rim, the name came about because this is super reaction injection molding, and it's a patent and nowhere else in the world is doing this. It's a way of combining ABS and the qualities of ABS in the shell. Now we need to bond it down to the hood. How do we bond it on there? We need a surface to bond it on there, and the ABS would not provide a suitable surface to do that. So this surface here is actually urethane that has been injected in a very special mold design that, again, Air Design makes and designs here, Carlos.
That's
How
right.
did you come up with this idea?
Well, as we have urethane and we have thermoforming, we needed to create a V surface somehow to avoid that range that we were talking about. So we thought, hey, why don't we shoot on top of ABS and create the V section that will attach to the vehicle? And it worked. We tried and error, we developed a special kind of tool to be flexible tools, and this is the final result. It works really
Wow.
nice.
So here's one of the molds and the special tools that you've made, and this one happens to be the Colorado.
That's right.
So explain, if you will, for the camera, how you do this.
Well, this is a combination of a urethane, a very flexible material on the bottom, and a very hard core on the top. So we place the thermoform shell in here, we close it down, and then we inject the urethane around the interior. So that creates the interior V surface that will be touching the hood of the vehicle.
And what is that material made of? It looks almost translucent. What is that?
Remember your old skateboard?
Oh yeah, okay.
The same material that you have on your wheels, this is it.
And that stuff never wears out.
It's been there forever.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's our tour of the reaction injection molding system, and more importantly, we saw some unique patents that aren't done anywhere else in the world, and that's why it's a super rim injection molding system. You know, I just take it for granted. I know it looks good. I don't understand why it looks good.
Yeah.
Now I understand why it doesn't look ugly, like
Yeah,
every
it's
other
not-
hood scoop that
it's-
sticks on the top of your
It's
hood.
not that evident.
No, it's not that evident. Great design, another patent, and that is why the product line is called Super Rim. Okay, Carlos, we're in final packaging and assembly. Maybe that doesn't sound exciting to you, but it is to me, and let me tell you why. This is the biggest reason I wanted to do business and sell Air Design products. They were the only one to solve a big problem we were having at the dealership, and that is the fender flares wearing and sanding through the paint right down to the metal. They have this patented Superbolt design where on the other side it is actually applied with automotive adhesive. And Carlos, how did you come up with that idea?
Well, I was visiting the hospital and I noticed that they were sticking things to the body. So I had to come up with an idea to be able to fix mechanically the top of the fender flare to the body without making one single hole. So I said, okay, let's develop something that sticks into the fender, and then with a nice thread, we can screw and attach and deattach the part as many times as needed.
It's a brilliant, and you know, I can't compliment you enough on that. I'm going to point out that this adhesive on this pad is blue, and everything here else is red, which we all know is 3M adhesive. Air Design is a big user of 3M and a distributor for 3M, in fact, here in Mexico. But tell me why this adhesive is blue and not the red pattern.
It was out of necessity. With 3M, we couldn't have a proper attachment to the new body systems, body paint systems that are ceramic. So we had to come up with something else because we were having
now
trouble.
the ceramic, you're talking about that low surface tension paint?
Low surface tension, that's right.
All right, and so okay, so that adhesive wasn't sticking to it.
We look all over to find the best solution. With the proper primer, you will not have any trouble, whatever the paint.
Well, that's fantastic. And the last piece to point out is this barcode. You were telling me earlier, so this fender flare, you could trace everything that was done about this fender flare right down to the supply of raw material, say the Senhouse plastic. If you ever had a problem, you know exactly what's going on.
Yes, I even have the second in which this was built.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to shipping, and
Yes, let's go.
we'll see the product on the way to your door soon, hopefully. I'll tell you, we sure love it. So we've seen the packaging, and that's fantastic how you have to ship it. I guess you got to ship it and make sure it's protected. It's finished packaging, and we're here in the loading dock. How many pieces go out of here a year?
Well, every day we are shipping close to 3,000 parts.
Wow.
Every day.
And how many parts or total SKUs do you have that are active? Total part numbers that you have that are active?
Close to 4,000 part numbers.
And you got a process for every one of them?
Yes, and we have to control the inventories. It's very tricky.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say it has been very educational. I had no idea about your environmental issues, about your employee concerns and the assets you have for your employees, the quality, the design, the technology. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
It's been fantastic.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for watching. Again, this has been Air Design, Design Center and Manufacturing Facility, and I'm Jim Carson. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I saw you have all the Air Design pet products. You've got 9 dogs. You must love dogs, obviously.
We love dogs. Actually, you can bring your own dog to the plant.
Oh yeah?
Yes, there are places they have food all over. You're allowed to bring your dog if you want.
Can the workers bring their dogs?
Yes, of course, sometimes.
Oh, that's fantastic. I have my dog at work every day.
Of course.
That's amazing.
It's fantastic. It's more like nice environment,
Well,
warmer.
I think it's time for a cerveza. What do you think?
Yes.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's go.